Hey guys, this is Jay from The Crazy Life of Jay. I am here today on Janet Carr's This Bug's Life to go over my final post for the time management project. I can't believe this project is winding to an end, but here we are at the final post. Instead of doing my traditional photo post, I figured it'd be kind of nice to go through this amazingly gorgeous binder that Janet sent to me and show you what it's been used for the duration of the project and what it will be used for moving forward now that the project is wrapping up. If you've read my first 4 posts in this series, you know that I have used this planner as a combination of managing the Filofax Project, which was a job in and of itself, as well as using it to aid my job search since I moved down here to Kentucky. So that part of the project has actually wound to a close. I did find a full-time job, so I'll show you a little bit of what the binder is going to be used for now. First of all, here it is, this gorgeous A5 Cinnamon Sienna. It is absolutely beautiful. It has some nice, beautiful wear on here from when it belonged to Janet. And I've added a few marks and scratches of my own, which I think just adds so much character to this binder. The front has a small zipper pouch on it, which doesn't have anything in it for the time being. I do plan on putting some business cards in here, though. So I'll explain why business cards need to go there in just a moment. When you open the binder up, let's see if I can fit the whole thing in here, it does have 2 pen loops. They're shockingly different sizes. So this back one I just have a slim mechanical pencil in, and the front one I was able to fit a fatter Uniball Signo pen, which are my current faves. Lots of card slots here, which I haven't really used yet, mainly because I don't use this as my carry-around planner and wallet, so I'm sure I'll find use for those as well. It has 2 wider pockets behind the business card or credit card slots, and then a full-width huge pocket behind all of that. And then my cover page, this is from a Cosmopolitan UK magazine, kind of a fly leaf, so I can just stick things right onto it. I thought the little flowers were really fun. And then just a poem underneath that I had written and typed up on my typewriter. So as I mentioned, this planner has had kind of a dual life so far, and the first half is used to help me with my job search. I definitely used it quite a bit for that, between using the calendars, using notes, things along those lines. And I was hoping that once I found a full-time job to use this as my work binder. Interestingly enough, the full-time work that I found, or the full-time job that I found, rather, I realized that I really just needed a day per page bound planner. I don't really need a ring bound system for what I'm using, or for what I'm doing for work, pardon me. So instead of using this for that, I decided to use this for moving forward for my husband and my wedding photo studio. We are starting our own wedding photography company, and we have a couple weddings booked, and I figured that with the rustic style wedding photography we do, what could be better than an awesome rustic style binder. So to this point, this binder has been used to help me in my job search and to manage the Filofax project, and moving forward, this will be kind of the Soki Studios binder of all the information we'll need for that. So let's kind of take a peek through what I've used it for so far and kind of what it'll be used for moving forward. So the first half of the binder Janet gave me was so nice to give me so many inserts. So this first half is kind of used for my job search and now moving forward Soki Studios, whereas the back half was used to manage the Filofax project. So as I mentioned, I have the flyleaf here with the poem that I had written, and then behind that I have a massive supply of note paper that Janet provided for me, of graph paper and plain note paper, lined paper, colored paper, kind of the whole 9 yards. So this is kind of just in the front of the binder to jot quick notes when I'm on the go, especially once this is in full use as the wedding planning binder. It'll be fantastic to meet with clients and just be able to flip to a page, jot down notes, and not have to worry about making sure I'm in the right section or on the right paper. When Janet gave me the binder, she was also kind enough to supply me with a week on 2 pages from August when the binder arrived through the end of last year. And this is really kind of the chunk of what I was using to track my job search. So I was able to track things like when I applied for certain jobs, when jobs were posted, when I found out whether or not I received certain jobs, It was just really simple. If my references got phone calls, I was able to track that. So it was really nice. You can see here, the Sienna arrived this day. So it was really easy and wonderful to be able to track what jobs I had applied for, updates on those jobs, all the details that kind of went into the jobs I was applying for calendar-wise went here in this section. And then after 2013 ended and these inserts ended, I just printed from Filofax month on 2 pages inserts because I realized I really didn't need the week on 2 pages. I was using it because I had it, but it wasn't really necessary. So I just went with printing month on 2 page inserts, and from there tracked, I don't want to show all the details of where I applied, and just use that to track dates I applied, dates I heard information, etc., to keep it really organized and simple. Obviously, now I have a full-time job. This part I'm actually going to be pulling out of the binder soon. Probably just recycling it. I really don't need to keep those records, but it was incredibly useful to use for that. Now, also for the job search, I'm going to kind of skip ahead a little bit. I used the first set of A to Z tabs here on the side and tracked everything from job descriptions I would print offline, job descriptions, information on details on jobs, including salaries, information like that. If it was a certain company, I would put it behind that alphabetized tab. Otherwise, I would just put it behind J for jobs and track all of those details there. So that was also incredibly helpful. Here's one that was specific to a company name that I, alphabetized with the letter. And then I also included a section back here where I had, questions I wanted to make sure I asked future employers. I had, during an interview, I had my strengths, weaknesses, things along those lines. So I had all of those details ready to go because this is actually what I took with me to every job interview. So it was really helpful to be able to take quick notes and things along those lines. So we have all of that, and that was for my job search. So all of that information will actually be coming out of the binder. It was just incredibly helpful to have in there during the search. Now moving forward, what this binder will primarily be used for is for Soki Studios. In terms of the calendar section for Soki Studios, really don't need a ton of detail because the detail will go on each client's individual sheet. So what I've done so far in this system is definitely going to be tweaked as I use this binder more and more for our weddings. But what I've done so far is printed from Filofax again. I printed a year to view for both 2014 and for 2015. And then what I've done is, we only have one in 2014 so far. So what I've done is just put a sticker on the date that we know we have that wedding. That way, if another client emails and is interested in a date, I'll easily be able to pop this open, see whether or not the date's available without flipping through each individual client. It's kind of a quick overview. We know whether or not we have that date open, and we can go from there. So since this calendar obviously doesn't have a ton of room to write details in, I've just put the star there, and then on the backside fold, I've written the date, and behind this post-it is that client's name. So it's really simple to know, okay, I know we're booked that day, who is it and where is it? And then I did the same thing for 2015. We have one, this calendar will definitely get more full. I don't think we'll book too many more weddings for the rest of this year, but 2015, I'm sure we'll have quite a few more on here. But so far, we just have our one. But again, I put that star there so I know right away if another client calls or emails inquiring about dates, I know right away where we're at. So that is incredibly helpful just to see the whole year and know what's going on there. So that'll probably be the main calendar system. I can't imagine there will be too much more to put on a calendar in this book. I think it'll just be the 2-year calendars. The main part of what will be kept in this binder is client information, which is where I think these A to Z tabs are going to come in, be incredibly useful. I already have under H, I do have one of our clients here. With this client form that I designed and created. I obviously am not going to show their personal details, but I'll show you a little bit about the form that I created. I'm just going to keep the blank ones before the tabs start, so I have plenty ready to go, and then they'll just be filed in their respective places. So this is basically for our Soki Studio. It's a day of wedding schedule. So each client will have one of these pages to give me a quick snapshot on the go wherever we are of all of the pertinent details of the wedding. So it'll have things like when the contract, making sure a checklist for the contract being signed, the deposit received, and the balance received, so I can check off and know right away where we are in making payments, or for them making payments to us. And then the pertinent information for the wedding. I have bride's name, phone number, email, groom's name, the date of the wedding, when the photographers are starting and ending, the starting location, ceremony, travel time, the ceremony end time, what type of ceremony are they having, any special readings. So all of those details, it's a quick snapshot so I know right away what's going on. And then the back of it I have for the photo shoot information, as well as all of their reception information, and then this whole bottom of the page just for notes. So I think this is going to be incredibly useful just to give us a quick little snapshot of information, so I know what's going on right away at a glance. I don't have to dig for that information. So once these are filled out, as I mentioned, they get filed back here behind that client's name. Usually I do by the last name of the groom just to keep it simple. And behind, so they'll have that as kind of their section header, and then I print off their signed contract. I shrink it down to A5 size on the computer and then print it onto A5 paper and have a copy of their printed contract behind there as well. Just to be safe, it's always with me. And then I'm sure that as we continue with these weddings, more and more details will go back there, especially if I'm doing event coordinating for them. I'm sure there'll be a lot more information about, you know, their colors and their styles and photos that they like and the whole 9 yards. But for now, we kind of have this sheet, the signed contract, and we'll build off of that. So going forward, that's what this binder will mainly be used for. Now, this binder obviously was also used for the Filofax project for Janet's blog, and this whole back half of the binder is what was primarily used for that. So what I did for that is I managed everything with a month on 2 pages, printed from Filofax. It was the easiest way to go. So this is kind of my blank slate in August since the project started shortly after that. Just the basic month on 2 pages. I'm going to show you September and October because they were the busiest months. So how I managed the system is once I worked out with each poster what their schedule was, I wrote in black pen their initials and when their posts were due. Wrote those all in black all the way throughout as soon as we got their schedule set. And then in the pink friction pen, so that I could erase it if it needed to be changed, I wrote the dates that I planned on having those posts go up on Janet's blog. That way they could be erased if they needed to be moved, but for the most part I could at least kind of map out when things were being posted, when things were being published. And the highlighter was used as soon as kind of a mark to say it's done. So as soon as I received the post from the poster, I'd highlight it saying, okay, I've received it. And then as soon as that post went live on the blog, I highlighted it to know that it was live on the blog. October was definitely the biggest month for the project. It was the busiest. So there's a lot going on. You know, you can see a lot of posts are due this day. The circles were for posts that I hadn't received on time. So I knew I needed to kind of make sure, hey, I need to follow up with that person. So I would just kind of circle around them, and I kind of always put links down here, or notes down here rather, on who I needed to follow up with, what I was still missing, etc., etc. So that really just kind of went through the end of the year. So that was really awesome to be able to kind of track everything. Obviously, you can see in November I had received most of the posts, so it was really just scheduling them out through the end of the year. And then it actually did continue into 2015. So that is kind of, or 2014, hello. So that is how I tracked all of that. It kept it really simple to see at a glance what the whole month looked like, and then I could kind of go from there. And then behind each individual tab back here, this is kind of my filing cabinet for the Filofax project. So I didn't have a ton of information back here, but what I did have somewhere, see, I need to remember my own filing system. Where'd it go? So under the I and J, I had the information on each project, and I just printed it straight from the Excel file. So this was the file that I shared with Janet and tracked, you know, each individual person, what binder they received or used on their own, their address for mailing of the binders. All right, let's continue on. I got a little interruption there, not a big deal. So as I mentioned, this was just the information on the details of each participant, their project notes, their addresses to mail the binders. I just kind of kept this all in here, even after the binders were mailed, just as a record so I knew that I had it. And then back here, I'm not obviously going to show you, but I have the contact pages that Janet included in the binder. So I had all of the contacts' names and information kind of on the top of these. I'm not going to show you, obviously, because it's personal details, but I kept all of their contact information. So when the binders were mailed, etc., we had that. And in the back of the binder, I just have more paper. Janet included so much paper, I don't know if I'll ever get through it, but I'll definitely do my best. So I just keep a couple extra scraps of paper back here. She also included a business card holder back here with one of her business cards in it, and this top opening, or kind of whole side opening envelope here that I had as well. That's great for just tucking quick papers in. And then the back of the binder, she included the notepad, which I use all the time just to jot down quick notes again. If it's convenient, you're going to use it. And that's what makes the best binder, I think. So that is it. That is how the binder has been used for both my job hunt and the Filofax project, and then also how it will be used going forward as the Soki Studios wedding binder. So if you have any questions, pop them in the comments below, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.